Hello, you lovely, lovely people. Welcome back again. Uh, if you don't know me, my name's Stephen. You already know that anyway. Um, Today we're going to talk about the expat bubble and why I personally don't like being part of it. And I don't like to fully immerse myself in that that environment because I can understand people who do. Okay, and I'm not knocking the people that do. I'm not knocking that at all. Whatever is good for them is good for them. Whatever's good for me is good for me. But when I came here, I wasn't really escaping anything. I was just escaping the way of life that that I was caught up in. Let's just say caught up in with the friends that I was with, and I was with a lot of friends who like to drink and like to go out and have a good time, and I was wrapped up in that. And it was getting to a point where I was thinking, I'm just wasting. I'm wasting. I was enjoying it when I was doing it, but I was thinking, I can't continue doing this. I'm getting older now. So that's why I came here. Because I was fed up with what I was doing back in the UK. And I'm looking at the chickens scratching around the roots of the trees I've planted. So if you see me can't do anything about it. And I think, when I did first come here, and I did meet a few people who'd lived here for a while, and the first thing that I noticed was the gatherings that they were having. It was always full of complaints, and it could have been about anything, about the local culture. But he was generally negative things. It was generally, and I'm thinking, oh, hold on a minute. I don't want to come here and to these gatherings and kind of get mixed up into this complaining malarkey. And it was it was always the same thing. Always the same thing. It was always complaints about this. And many of the people, and I didn't know many Filipinos then, and I wasn't really, I mean, I mixed with a few, but not a lot. Not like I do now. And it was always Filipinos are this, Filipinos are that, and they will try and take advantage of you and things like this. And I was thinking, oh God, maybe they do. I haven't been here long enough at that particular time to know about that. And um, I just don't like being around toxic people. I really, really don't. And there's many foreigners here. Not all, many, but there are still many that I met in the very beginning, and I've met a few since who, to me, seem very arrogant, and they thinking that they come from the West and that they are they are in that hierarchy of people where they look down on less privileged people. Let's just say that. And for me, I don't want to replicate what I had in the UK. I don't. I think, and many people here think that I've integrated quite well into this surroundings, and where not just where I live, but in the surroundings of mixing with people, Filipino people. And that's why I said in my previous video before that I think it's a good idea for me, and maybe for you as well, to try and learn the local language. And I'm not saying because you have to, but I'm just saying because it gives you a sense of being integrated even more. Because it's nice to be sat with some people. And yes, if you're in a city, they probably speak English all the time. But where I am, they don't. They speak their own dialect, their own local language. And I used to get bored, just sat there. And of course, the more they drinking, the more they would try and speak English because they got a bit more confidence. But I was always felt a bit of the odd one out because I was just sat there like this thinking, what am I doing here? I don't know what they're talking about. So that's why I said before about trying to learn the local language. Not to be fluent or anything like that, but just so you can pick up bits and pieces, and they actually do enjoy it. They kind of, oh, you speak a bit of Visaya, gamalang, and hina, just slowly. And they kind of like that. And this expat bubble, and I think there's a lot of it in Dumagetti, from what I've seen, a lot of, and fair play to them. What's good for them, like I said, is not necessarily good for me. And even if I was living in Dumagetti, I still wouldn't get like involved in that, in that scene. I really wouldn't. And what I have kind of experienced as well is many Westerners, like myself, are the like a lot of them seem to be like know-it-alls. You do it this way, you do it that way. I've been here, I've done that. They seem to have done everything in their lives. They've done everything, but they still end up in the Philippines. And I've seen a lot who don't respect how it is here. They like I said, they keep wanting to continue replicating their own life back in where they've come from. Well, what's the point in coming to a country where you're trying to replicate where you've come from? Because obviously you might not have been totally happy about where you've come from. So why try and get yourself back into that situation where you've tried so hard to get out from? And people being very judgmental, um, you know, like judgmental on how much money you have. Like, as an expat, you're in that circle, and a lot of them talk about money, how much pensions they have, how much savings they have, what investments that they were successful in invested in. I'm not interested in that. If someone has got lots of money, I'm not jealous at all. And I don't wish that I'd done what they done, because we all take a different path in our life, in our lives. My path was, what can I say about my path? My path was, I was a party animal, put it that way. I used to like going out and socialising with my friends and going here. I've always been spontaneous in whatever I've done. These days, I think I'm a bit more grounded, but I'm still spontaneous in some ways because that's my character. You can't change, your character. I'm not a know-it-all. I don't pretend to be. I'm not an intellectual type of a person. That's not to say I'm thick, but I don't pretend to be something that I'm not. I don't try and say to people you should do it this way, not that way. You know what I'm saying? And also I think that expat bubble, they don't really see what it's like living here, and maybe because they don't want to. And if they don't want to, that's fine as well. No one's saying. And if they live in a big house and drive a big 4-wheel drive, that's okay too, because that's what they want to do. Who's it for me to say, why do you come here? You should be living a simple life. Just because I'm living a simple life through my choice doesn't mean to say that they should be living a simple life. So we've all got different characters, right? Which is what makes the world go around. If we all had the same characters and built the same way, we would live in a proper boring life, wouldn't we? But this is why I don't mix with a lot of foreigners. The only foreigners I really see is when I go out into the city. And normally, I've noticed a lot of foreigners as well are like me. They are the same, where they don't really like to mix with other foreigners. Like some of the foreigners that I've met here, and that's through social gatherings, like could be a party of a Filipino and you're invited, like my neighbours, and you go, and because some of their relations are married to a foreigner, and they come, and I get the same kind of chat with a lot of them, where they are like they are like me. They don't like to mix with other expats, not because we don't like our own kind. It's not because of that at all, but I think if I wanted to be around expats or my own kind all the time, I wouldn't have left England. I would have still been in that circle. And this is my comfort zone. I don't need to be around many people to feel contented. I've got my family around me, and that is enough for me. Honestly, that's enough. I don't need anything else outside of that. I've been here now for 9 years this month, people. I looked at my old passport, my expired passport, and I looked at the stamp. And the reason I was doing that was because the stamp that I got in my new passport from immigration, when I applied the visa transfer, I couldn't quite see the date properly. And so I looked at my old passport. I couldn't really see that one properly either, but I could see it a little bit more. And I looked at the date, and it was the 8th of May. I don't know what the date is today, but we're getting close to that now. So this will be 9 years I've been here. The first year I was here, I did go to a few places where foreigners used to gather, and back then there used to be a place called the Chinese Cuisine, which later changed its name to Scooters, and there was all kinds of expats in there from all nationalities. And what I instantly picked up on was the naughtiness of them. Where you come from? How much money you got? You on a pension? How are you living here? How old's your wife or your girlfriend? Have you got a girlfriend? I'm thinking that's personal things. I've come here to have a drink. We can be talking about many other things like football or boxing or motorsports or anything. But no, they want to dig in deep. Personal things. So for me, the expat bubble, I'm not part of it, and the chickens are still digging up around the roots. I'm not part of that at all, and I will never be part of it. I don't like, that gossiping as well. The gossiping. And I don't really want to relive, the social dynamics of my home country. I really don't. I don't even look what's happening in my own country no more. It's only if it comes up in a news feed and I might have a look. I think, God, the trouble with all of the illegals that are coming in on the boats, things like that. But I'm not part of that no more. I'm here. So I take notice of what's happening around me more than I do in my own country. And I am fully immersed into this environment. I couldn't imagine myself being taken away from it. And I couldn't imagine myself going anywhere else. For all of its faults here, I don't think that having a relationship here is worse than having a relationship in the UK. Meaning, I think the women here are people are people wherever you go. People are people. But some people have different traits with the cultures. You can't change that. But for me personally, I think I might have said it before, but my wife is probably more understanding than any other female that I've been with ever, and she's more passive as well. She's not like an aggressive type of a girl, and she doesn't appear on video very much because she's shy. And this channel is is about me. It's not about my wife. And if she wants to come on, but it's not her thing. It's not her thing. Sometimes you see her in the videos. She's doing a bit of washing or that, and I'll turn it around. There she's doing the washing or things like that. But people who want to be in that expat bubble, fair enough, good, excellent. People who come here with a lot of money, a big pension, who live in big houses, that's good as well. But it doesn't mean to say that they are having a better life than I am because they've got more money. It means that they are able to do more things than I can. But I don't want to do a lot of things, if that makes any sense. I just want to get on with what I'm getting on with. I've got this land now that is outside my back door. Literally, it's outside my back garden is the land that we've got. And the reason we got that, it wasn't because we wanted more land. It was because it was stupid not to take it. Because if I didn't buy it, or we didn't buy it, then somebody else would have done, and they would have built a house there, and it would have been even more noisy. They might have had 1,000 cockerels or something like that, because it is the province. You know, we are out in the sticks here. And this little bit of land that we've got, it's not big. I think when, you know, my neighbour measured it, it's about 3,000 square meters. Initially, it was 2,500, but the adjoining bit was too good as well not to take on. So, and there is also a potential for more of the back to be taken, but that's for another time. Hinai lang, you know, slowly. Rome wasn't built in a day, and I don't want to take on too much because it's going to be too much for me to be doing. So slowly, little bits and pieces like that. And this gives me a purpose as well. And my wife loves working out in the land. She always has done. That's the kind of girl she is. And I get a lot of people. I do, really. I've had a lot of people saying to me, why don't you take your son back to England? You know, it's a better life there. Is it? Is it? Why? Why is it a better life there? Well, there's more opportunities. Well, possibly. But when I see my son playing here with his friends, that's what I used to be like. Now, when you go back to England, you're not allowed to do that no more. You go, you can't go out, you can't do this, you can't go, you got to be so careful. You know, just turn on a computer and sit in front of a computer game. My son doesn't do that. He's socialising well with people here. He knows the language, English as well as I am. He's having a good life. He's been a kid. Now, because he's British by descendant as well as Filipino, he will have the opportunity to do that if he wants to. But I'm not taking him out of this environment when he's having a bloody good life. He'll go to private school in June. He'll start kindergarten. So he will have a good education, as best as what we can give him here. And then when he gets up, after his childhood, he can decide what he wants to do. But in England, come on, you know, it's scary walking down some of the streets in England. Even if you live in a nice part of England, there will be a section not far from that nice part where it is a bit iffy. So for all the people that say, take your son to England, no, I'm not. I like it here, and this is good for my son. He's socialising. He's been a kid. He's having a childhood. It's not being taken away by computers and by cell phones and video games. That's that, really. So it's just a video of that, people. And like you say, I'm not in know-it-all. I don't know, and I will never know how it works here fully because I'm not a Filipino. But I just know enough to what I need to know, and I'm learning all the time. I'm learning every week, every month. Something happens, but I've got that mindset now where I think nothing surprises me in the Philippines anymore. Nothing will surprise me anymore, and it doesn't. Where it used to think, God, why, how, why? But now, nothing surprises me here anymore. And that's it. I'm done. So I'm going to say that. Oh, before I go, someone said, I'm just going to show you. Oh, it's too bright out there. I was going to show you how close it is. Hold on, I've got to turn this camera around. Hold on, people. This is the back garden, right? I'm walking onto the lawn now. And this is the land that we've bought. So you can see, it was too silly not to buy it. And these are the fruit trees now that are producing fruit from 3 years. These here, they are 3 years old and they are producing already. And we got all these. And this is what we've got here. So you've got all this over here. And this is the back garden, people. The trees that we planted. It goes right up to the top there, right up. There's another 100 trees coming. There's another 100 of these grafted lands on these trees coming. They are growing now. They've been in the ground for about 8 days now, and they've taken because there's new growth on them. But yeah, so there's all of this here that's going to be planted up right at the top, right as up there. with the potential of over there is more that we'll probably get at a later point, at a later date. But so you can see, people, can't you? You can see. And these were the trees that we planted 3 years ago. These are rambutan, and they are producing fruit already. I'll show you. Ooh, hot, very hot, very hot. You can see all the, oh God, all the flowers that are coming, look. And this is only after 3 years. Oh, what's happening here? All the flowers. They're everywhere. There's some landowners that have taken there, that have set. And here, even down below, there's flowers. I don't know if I'm filming this or not, actually. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, so that's it, people. Listen, thank you very much for always listening to me. Take good care, and I'm over and out. Bye-bye.